PTF and JK back with you with our latest In the Money Media Top 10 Kentucky Derby Contender video brought to you by our friends at DK Horse. Make sure you download the DK Horse app today. Lots of doings, JK, since the last time we talked, and one of the emerging contenders on this year's Derby Trail is Emerging Market. 2 starts, grade 2 winner. Does this one have enough experience to get the job done in a race like the Kentucky Derby? Where is he for you amongst this year's contenders?
Well, he certainly deserves to be on the list, right? If you win your first start, you come back in your second start, you win a mile and 3/16 race in the Louisiana Derby. That says a lot about the talent that you have. Not to mention there's an airplane flight in between there. It says a lot for a very lightly raced horse. And here's the thing. Chad Brown has had success with situations like early voting, cloud computing, for Seth Klarman and Klarvich Stables of skipping the Kentucky Derby and taking on a later Triple Crown race and then going into the summer with a fresh horse to try to win some of these other races. Let's see what happens. It's a lot to ask in a third career start to jump in a 20-horse field with a horse like Emerging Market. I would imagine the horse will take them there. If he's training like a monster, acting like a monster, acting like he wants to win the mile and a quarter race, they'll run him there. And if he isn't, I'd imagine they might skip and target a race like the Preakness or maybe even Chad's home track in Saratoga for the Belmont Stakes.
Could be very much an early voting cloud computing situation. Let's get up to number 9 on the list. This is the Runner Colt. Further ado, this horse, we had talked about how that Kentucky Jockey Club form not holding up so great, but he's raced since we last talked, Tampa Bay Derby second. Is that enough to keep him as a prime contender for you?
Sadly, that's enough to keep questioning that form, in my opinion. That's not enough to move him past that. Let's see what the Puma does this weekend for Florida Derby. If the Puma can come back and make that Tampa Bay Derby form look a little bit better, then maybe that could help further ado. But I'm not too optimistic about the Puma being able to do that in this loaded Florida Derby.
We'll have another video about that. Make sure you subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. Number 8 on the list is Silent Tactic, one of many on this list that will be running this weekend. I've been impressed with the last 2 races. Seems like he's going in the right direction. Obviously, we're going to know a lot more soon.
Yeah, he's just one of those horses. I feel like we see him every year on the Derby Trail, kind of plotty, pluggy types. They kind of run, they show up every time, but they just don't quite ever wow you. That's how he feels right now. If you made me submit my superfecta ticket for the Derby today, which would be very annoying, Pete, if you made me do that, he'd be a horse that I couldn't put any higher than 4th.
You've already sort of given us your opinion on number 7, the Puma. He comes back this weekend. Same connections as Mage, who won the Derby in recent years. Is that a proper angle and thing to think about, or just a good story?
I think it's more of a good story. Look, I also think it's interesting to note that he's running back in the Florida Derby. It's pretty quick turnaround off of that Tampa Bay Derby. We've seen in the past horses will go Tampa Bay Derby straight into the Kentucky Derby. So to run in between, I think is pretty crazy.
Number 6, Incredibolt, is next on the list. This is one that Eric DeCoster, who makes the In the Money top 10 for us here, was extremely high on. We had this horse as a top 3 contender early on, dropped off the list. He's back on it now after the nice bounce back race. How much do you trust that Virginia Derby form?
You know, it's not so much about the form of the Virginia Derby. It's more to me of a horse that's progressing, right? You know, you have a horse like Incredibolt who was on this list early. Eric had kind of nailed him a little bit early as being one that you wanted to keep an eye out for. Then he was a little disappointing, but he's persevering for a trainer in Riley Mott you think's probably going to continue to progress just like his father is with his types of horses. So we'll see him take another step forward. Am I cutting in line to bet the horse to win the Derby now? No, but I do think that he can definitely improve.
Number 5, Renegade. This horse won the Sam Davis. The Puma's subsequent win boosts that form. He's also got the form that ties in tightly with Paladin. And it seems like Gerard Ortiz Jr. chose to ride him this Saturday over Commandment. That certainly seems notable to me. Or is that reading too much into it?
I think that's probably a Todd Rapoli thing. I think Irad and Steve Rushing recognize the relationship there, and to maintain that relationship would be important for him. Here's what I'll say, and I'll save a little bit for when we get to Paladin. Renegade's form is so trustworthy because of Paladin. Because what Paladin has done makes me feel better about what Renegade has done so far. in his two starts, recent starts, the Remsen and then also the Sam F. Davis. I'm looking forward to seeing him run in the Arkansas Derby.
Into Mischief is well represented on our list. He's also the sire of number 4, Commandment, who has all world connections. Looks like the right kind of improvement, right trainer, right sire. Very easy horse to make cases for. What do you think about him? Obviously, he runs this weekend, and that's going to be a determining factor. But right now, what do you think of his Derby chance?
I think based on his performance in the Fountain of Youth, he's on the edge of being a horse I could possibly fall in love with. If he could take another step forward, triple-digit buyer, impressive win in this loaded field, which I believe is probably the best Derby prep we've seen so far, this Florida Derby. If Commandment takes that next step forward, he's one that could thrust himself to the top of my personal list when it comes to planning out my attack come the first Saturday in May.
Nearly has been a horse we've talked about this winter. He's been as high as number 1 on the ITM list. Very visually impressive, good races on the clock, but he hasn't faced Commandment or Chief Wallaby yet. He's been laid out for this Florida Derby. What do you expect to see from him in this race and beyond?
It's going to be hard for me not to pick him as what projects to be the third choice. We'll talk about that on our Florida Derby video that you can check out on the YouTube channel, the In the Money YouTube channel. I like Nearly a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he's progressed in this time between the Holy Bull and now. He's got that tactical speed that I love. He's trained by a guy in Todd Pletcher who knows how to get him ready for these types of races and get him into the starting gate for the Derby. I'm very much looking forward to this Florida Derby.
Eric DeCoster and I share an affinity for the top 2 on this list. Coming in at number 2, another one who'll run this weekend, that's Chief Wallaby. I've been so impressed with both races. I left the last run thinking he was just going to move forward again. Am I too bullish on this horse?
I wouldn't say you're too bullish. I do still think he's in the hope stage, right? We're hoping that what we saw in the Fountain of Youth is a hint of what's to come. He's a horse that outperformed what I think a lot of people thought he wanted to do, was supposed to do, was going to do on the day. And when horses run through our bad opinions, I always gather a little bit of extra respect for them moving forward. So he's definitely one that has to prove it. Like I said, this Florida Derby looks like a war. Whichever one of these 3 horses, the big 3 horses kind of can emerge. I guess you can call it 4 horses if you include the Puma, can emerge on top of this Florida Derby. I think will be your Kentucky Derby favorite.
Paladin is number 1 on the list. You know I'm down with this opinion. This was the horse I did a nice write-up of, talking about him as a future play for the Derby before the Remsen. He's looked really good since. He's on this Chad Brown time-honored trail to get good results. He'll be seen next in the Bluegrass. He's sort of the leader in the clubhouse, watching on the sidelines as the chaos happens this weekend. What do you think about his position on this list and his overall Derby chance?
I'm going to basically just flip what I said earlier from Renegade. I trusted Renegade because of Paladin. I trust Paladin because of Renegade. I think that shared form that they have together in the Remsen and what they have both gone on to do makes me feel very comfortable and cozy that they both are as good as I think they are and as they look on paper. It's why I think Renegade could be tough in the Arkansas Derby and why I think Paladin is definitely towards the top of the list for the Kentucky Derby.
Number 1, in fact, on the ITM one. I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to the In the Money YouTube channel. Give this video a like and drop us a comment. Who'd be number 1 on your Derby list right now? Check out our videos for Florida and Arkansas Derbies. And we're going to have a new list coming up after this weekend. There is no doubt in that. Thanks once again to JK. Thanks to our sponsors at DK Horse. Make sure you download the DK Horse app today, and may you win all your photos.